Now we're up to the next stage of making our rectangle actually into a rectangle. I thought I'd do it on a little sample so that you can see where we're going before I go back to the large sample. So what I'm doing here is working in shells, and I'm doing the decrease in each end. So I'm just going to work along here on my small sample, chaining three trebles, just to refresh your memory. Normally we don't sit with a table in front of us, and I think I put my hands down. I can't manage to wield the hook. So I'm just going to work in shells quite quickly now. To get to the other end so you can see the decreasing. Please don't worry that I'm going fast. I'll slow down when you need it. I hope you're all having fun while I stitch away here, and that you've come so far. I know it seems like that 70 rows is never ever going to happen, and then it does, but the colors are so pretty. Now I've already started my decrease here so that you wouldn't have to watch me do the whole lot. So I was decreasing along here, that you've already got a handle on, but now I'm decreasing on this side. So I'll show you how that looks. So we get to the end, we do a double crochet or a single crochet in the last 3 chain space. We don't do a shell, we turn, we slip stitch into the first 3 trebles, then we're going to do a double crochet, a shell actually, 3 chain into that. Now I'm just going to lay it down for you now once I do this first shell, so that you can see that that edge is coming in there, coming in there. It will end up meeting in here, and I'll show that to you in just a second. Now I've used some colored ties here to mark 5 shells in, 6 shells in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For you, you'll be doing it in 15 shells in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put the coloured markers. I like lockable stitch markers as well, but I thought if you've got some spare thread, and of course you do. So this is where we started. Just to do a rundown. We started with our tail at the bottom and we worked across. Then we decreased here and kept increasing, decreasing, 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 and now we're decreasing into there. Now I'm going to come back to you in just a moment with that done right to the point. I've worked this now until we have 2 shells remaining. I'm just going to slip stitch across those 3 trebles or 3 double crochets. 3, and I'm going to work our last shell. So a shell, you'll be sick of me saying it by now, double crochet, 3 chain, 3 trebles, our last shell in the corner, and then we're just going to do our double crochet or single crochet for Americans, and we have a perfect rectangle. Now what I tell you to do in the pattern, because you won't be cutting your thread, you'll be working your chain seam from the corner in a continuous motion. So we'd slip stitch, I tell you to slip stitch into the last 3 stitches, and then we're ready to fold it in half lengthwise. And now this is a little mini one, probably fit a little doll or a teddy bear, and I'm going to come back along here, but you're not going to be able to see that if I do it in the pink. It's too difficult. So to make it easier, I'm just going to finish that off. You wouldn't cut your thread, so please don't cut your thread. We're going to fold it over. I'm going to put my marker here. Let me show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how I count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For you, you'll be doing 15. And I'm going to show you that on a large sample in a minute. But I thought it'd be good to show you on this how we're going to start our pattern. Now, you're going to be doing your chain seaming and then following this instruction. Now, we've written the words in both USA terms and UK terms, but I prefer symbols. But that's just me. You're going to put a loop on your hook, a slip knot, and you're going to double crochet through, or single crochet. It gets a bit tricky swapping over, so I hope you're not confused. And I'm going to double crochet 2 loops on the hook through both thicknesses. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to move along to my next block. Can you see my 3 trebles there? 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go in this gap here, either under or in the double crochet itself, and I'm going to go over to the other side at the bottom of the trebles. You don't have to be too particular, but I think it's great in this that those natural spaces appear. And if you know me well, you know I like to go into the big holes to make it easier. Chain 3. Now, I used to call this Asian seaming, and it wasn't, it was only because anything you bought from Asia that's crocheted, they seamed up all the seams this way. Now I've decided it's probably best to call it chain seaming. So you can see my block there, my block on the other side, and I just go in the big holes where it's easy to work. Chain 3. The beauty of this is if you decide you don't like it when you're doing it in any other garment, you can just rip it apart, just frog. So I'm to the markers, where the 2 markers are. See my 2 markers? I'll move them out of the way. Now we're just going to work on one edge only, and we're going to work in pattern. Now my pattern is back to front. I flipped yours over, and we're going to be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chain. I think I told you to do 5, so let's do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to do a double crochet. The little cross means a double crochet or single crochet. I'm just going to come over a couple of stitches. 1, 2, go on the top there. 3 chain, 1, 2, 3. Then it's a treble because it looks like a treble or a double crochet because it has a little wrap. See that little wrap? No matter what the stitch says, if it's got 1 wrap, you wind the yarn over the hook once. If it's got 2, you do it twice. So yarn over, go in the middle there, and just do a treble. 3 chain, do a double crochet. I'm just going to speak British now, so please bear with me. 3 chain, a treble, 3 chain, a double, 3 chain. Now you won't know where to put this exactly, but if you look at your work and it's not pulling up tight or it's not fanning out, then that's probably a good spot. Very technical. 1, 2, 3 chain. Ready for the treble. 1, 2, 3. Ready for a double. 1, 2, 3. You think I do that so that you could hear that I can count. Double. I'm checking how close I'm getting to my other marker. Treble. double. Oh, great. I've got to the end here where this next marker is, and I'm doing a treble, and that's what I need to do according to the pattern. So I've worked chain seaming, the foundation of my first lot of pattern, and now I'm ready to work through double again to do my other sleeve. So I'm just going to do a double crochet straight in there through both thicknesses. See the hook through both thicknesses, and do your double crochet, 3 chain. If you had markers, you could take those out now. I probably should take that out to make it easy. Oh, I'll just pull them out of the way. Now they're secured together. Go through both thicknesses. 1, 2, 3. Double crochet through both thicknesses. Check that I'm going in the right spot. You don't have to be too careful as long as your ends meet. If you're working with a whirl, this is the saddest part right here, right now, because it means we have to cut it, because we've got to come and work on these stitches. And I always hate to do that, because the beauty of it is there's no tails to end off. I always do a locking stitch. It's not called a locking stitch, but I do one more chain, and with flourish, pull that up. So let me show you what this looks like. You've got a little sleeve here, a sleeve here, and this will be the bottom of our shrug or cardigan. Now while we're here, I'm just going to get you to mark the middle section here. You can just fold it in half, or you can count your blocks. So that you get this dead center. That will be the bit that sits around the back of your neck. So we're going to work down here, and you'll see that in your picture, in one of the pictures. So I'll just show you that over here. This is where I chain seamed it up. And you can, that's the right side, and it looks brilliant. You can't see your chain seaming. This is the other side. Because the whirl changes color, you can see it, but it's very minimal. And then this is the section, the pattern section that we've been working on, and that's all written in your instructions. So you will have that in international symbols, in American words, British and Australian words, and when you have done that panel until it's 6.5 inches long, then we're going to work our next stitches. Let me just get my thread. I'm sorry, I'll just get my thread out of the way. Along the ends of those rows, along the first bit of the shrug, I've put a marker halfway. You're going to work right along there, right along the other side, and down the other side of the first section we did in pattern. So you're going to start this end right here. And we need those 4 chain loops to be divisible by 4. That's why I put the marker in. So when you get to here, all the way up here, you count that to make sure they're 4. Divided by, you can divide them by 4. And then you put the same amount of loops down here. I'll show you that in my sample later.